riding motorcycles trumped everything else.
Yeah.
I did everything else because I liked it and
Do you reckon
it.
that there was a part of you that, like that whole control thing to where you just didn't want to play team sports?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And that's why I loved wrestling. So wrestling was kind of, and growing up where I did in Iowa, that like wrestling, you
Midwest sort of.
Yeah, you need to be a wrestler. That was like, I don't know if you heard of Dan Gable, but he was one of the best wrestlers ever. And
is that why they call it a Gable grip?
Yeah.
You do that,
that's from Dan Gable.
Yeah, right.
So he was the coach at University of Iowa, and was obviously a amazing wrestler. But
how far did you get into wrestling? Like, did you do it like pretty serious? Like you were doing like gnarly weight cuts and shit for competitions?
Yeah.
You remember that stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were just telling that story the other day.
What was that like?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that. I mean, I loved.
Because if you like to grind, wrestling's the sport.
It. Yeah. You'd be, 8 or 12 pounds over and got to cut that weight and
how were
wear
you doing
plastics.
Back then? Like the plastic bags and just jogging around?
Yeah, plastic bags. But also one of my friends had a sauna in his basement that we put a bicycle in, and he had a boxing bag as well.
Yeah.
So we would just sit in there and cut weight, or go to the local YMCA. It's like a gym.
Yeah.
And sit in the sauna and then run, and it was crazy.
There's something cool about like the bond that you've got with guys in like the wrestling room, because you just like I think like some of the boys here even get a bit pissed off for like how much time I spend with my jiu-jitsu boys, but it's like, you don't get it. Like we're fucking bashing each other. Like there's such a mutual respect that you get, and then when the boys are cutting weight, you want to go in the sauna with them, or when they're getting ready for a comp, like you'll just be a punching bag for them. Like there's a cool bond that gets formed.
Yeah, and it's why most people, when they retire from sport or whatever they're doing, they always say, hey, what do you miss the most? I miss the boys. Like I miss the locker room. I miss the track days, the long test days. Like you'd miss those things. You don't miss the races that you win or have won, or you don't really miss those days. You just miss the camaraderie. Like I know the one thing that I'm going to miss the most is the test track days. Like just hanging out with the boys, and you're doing motos together, and it's just so fun. But going back to the wrestling thing, I remember nights when I would get home from wrestling and my mom would have a can of green beans. Like that's all I could eat was just that can of green beans, because I had weigh-ins in 2 days or whatever it is. So just interesting times. And but that was my favorite was wrestling, because it was so similar to moto.
Yeah, it
was really simple. You work this hard, you're gonna get this result. You work this hard, you're gonna get that result. And moto, or I guess business or life is kind of that way anyway.
Yeah.
But those ones you couldn't hide. You couldn't, like if you played baseball, you might strike out 4 times in a row, and you might miss a catch in the outfield, and you might still win the game, and you're still celebrating. Well, you didn't do anything to win the game, you know what I mean? So I didn't really like that feeling. Or you could be the opposite. I could hit 4 home runs and make some crazy plays, and you might lose the game still. So it was totally out of your control, where wrestling, or like you in jiu-jitsu, is just straight up one-on-one. You can't hide. If you've done the work, it's going to show. If you haven't, same in Supercross, the last 5 laps, or your bike setup, or all of it. Like if you haven't done your work, there's no hiding.
Yeah, and there's a weird thing about the like level of accountability of putting yourself just by yourself, like especially I'd say more so in like a wrestling or a jiu-jitsu sense, because it's literally just 2 dudes on a mat, and it's like one dude's gonna win, one dude's gonna lose, and everyone's watching you.
Totally,
and it's like it's a weird experience.
It's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and it's
so you
weird.
Work harder.
Yeah, it's like weird to like have that headspace, but then like voluntarily do it. I always wonder about like the headspace that you've got to be in to voluntarily put yourself in front of all of those people in a 50-50 chance, and then like you don't even know how good the other dude is. Like he could be so much better than you, and you like literally don't even have a chance.
Idea. Yeah, I think that's a unique part of I guess just us, right? Like a lot of people don't want that. They don't want to put themselves out there that much to do a sport that's one-on-one. Nothing against those people, but I just think it takes I don't know. I've never thought about it. It's because I've known no different. Like I've never been on the other side of the fence. So I kind of think it's weird not to feel that way. So Yeah, but I guess the pressure of if you do lose, you're judged. Maybe people have a different mindset of when they do lose on the way people are going to treat them or whatever, which is part of the reason of what we talked about earlier, your identity in winning or losing or 8th or 10th, or some people just don't want to face that fear, I guess. I love facing it, and I still get to face it almost every weekend. But I just have a different way of going about it. If I don't achieve the result, or if I'm one-on-one and I lose, I have a different outlook and way of processing it and moving on and kind of leaving it there. For you, maybe just leave it on the mat, and that's that. Where it's hard to do though. Yeah.